Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. This is going to be a video on all of my absolute favorite face makeup products. So if I had to pick my absolute favorites, what would they be? This was requested, and actually the request was a little bit bigger than just face makeup itself, so foundation, blush, highlight, powders, all that. It also included eyeshadow and lipsticks and how I make certain combinations, but I think that would be a different type of video, and especially because I wear so many different eyeshadow palettes, I tend to think, I like to think that I change my eyeshadow more than I change my underwear almost, which is a bit of an exaggeration, but you get the idea. So I think that would be a different video for me to do, and I've tried to address it in another video that I just recorded. With that being said, this video is going to focus on all of my base and face color makeup favorites that I like. I am someone who really likes to focus more so on eyeshadow and lipstick and really have that be the focal point of my my entire makeup look, and the rest of it I don't really am too fussed about. I like putting on a foundation to even out my skin tone, but that's about it. I'm someone who has no qualms going out the door without makeup on. I do that on a regular basis. In fact, I tend to have a rule. Well, it's not really a rule, but I like to go makeup free once or twice a week anyways. So I tend to wear makeup to work mostly, and when I go to work, I don't have hours to blend everything. I have about 20 minutes in the morning to get ready when it comes to just my makeup, I mean. So I try to keep things sort of quick and easy. So I just thought we could talk about a couple of my favorites in different categories of face makeup products, and I can tell you why I like certain things over other things, but also why I am, for instance, trying out more full coverage foundations. So let's just start with foundation, because I think that in terms of makeup, foundation was the last product I really sort of got into. So I've only really been trying lots of different foundations. The past year or two, I'd say. I would just go for super minimal, and that was it. And I wasn't really dabbling into a lot. I have pretty fair skin, as you can see. This is quite fair skin right here, especially down my neck. And I really struggle finding that, for instance, at the drugstore. And I always find the drugstore the best place to start something off if you're looking for something. So for a while there, foundation definitely wasn't my favorite product to shop for. But I've got three here that I'm really liking. Two of them are brand new to me, which is perhaps a little bit crazy to talk about, which is why I wanted to throw in my current favorite foundation. I don't feel I found my perfect foundation yet, which is probably why I've been trying so many in the past 2 years, but this definitely comes close, and this is the Urban Decay Naked Skin Foundation. This is a very lightweight, light coverage foundation, and if you're like me and you don't want to hide everything on your face, then this is just a really nice one. I have this in the shade 1.5, and I find that this kind of lightweight foundations are great if you have a lot of trouble like me finding your shade match. If you go for something that's a bit lighter coverage, it blends a little bit easily and more easily down your neck, for instance, so you don't get such a big color difference, which is why I prefer going for a lightweight, lighter coverage foundations 9 out of 10 times, because then the shade match just doesn't matter all that much. But it's also exactly what I need. Personally, I currently am loving this more so now in the summertime. I was definitely using this a lot in August and early September when we still had really nice weather here. That's when I really like it, when I have sort of this naturally glowy skin from the sun outside, being outside in the summertime, and this just has that nice essence of your skin still poking through, and I personally really like that. I'm currently wearing this right now on my face, so this is the foundation I'm now wearing, and as you can see, it does just enough for me. It's nice and glowy, dewy. I personally really like this. Two foundations that I'm currently trying out, and both of them I like, are these two. I have a drugstore foundation here as well. This is the reformulated version of the L'Oreal Infallible Dewy foundation. Comes in a matte version, but they also have more a hydrating version, and this is new with oxygen technology. They used to do this already, and I tried it at the time and really liked the texture of it, but it didn't come in my shade. I had the next to lightest shade that I could only find in the UK that wasn't even for sale here, because the only shade they had was like another shade up. So I was not able to find my shade at all, and it oxidized on me quite badly too. So it was already too dark, and then it turned even darker, because I find that L'Oreal foundations tend to oxidize on me quite a bit. But they now do this new formulated version in shade 20 Ivory, which is why I wanted to rave about this, because as I already mentioned, I really liked how this foundation wore on my skin, what it did for my skin, because it is quite a hydrating kind of foundation. It's definitely a little bit thicker, more medium coverage than the Urban Decay, for instance. So I feel that this is a great all-rounder foundation, and it was just such a shame that I could never wear it because it wasn't in the right shade. But this, Ivory, yes, this is a nice match. So I wanted to share that with you. And I also wanted to talk about my latest foundation purchase. This is the All Hours foundation by YSL, and I'm not sure. I have this in the shade BR20, which I believe was Cool Ivory, and it's a really nice shade match. It's a hair too dark for me, but this is one I can blend down my neck, and with a bit of bronzer, it's absolutely fine. The reason why I wanted to rave about this is because this is the first, this is called All Hours, and that's why I'm sort of also going to like more higher coverage foundations as well now, especially in the winter time. My skin gets quite dry, and a good hydrating, long wearing foundation usually has higher coverage, which is why I tend to go for that, because I like the thicker foundations when we go into the winter time, because I feel it works with my skin a lot better, and it just protects my skin very nicely from like colder weather and like making it feel really dry. And I feel that this foundation is definitely up to par with that. When I first tried this on, I was amazed. It made my skin look so flawless. My skin has never looked as flawless as with this, but I can't really review it yet because I haven't tried it enough just yet to really sort of say how it wears on like the long term. I always like trying out products for like a little while before I truly give it a review. But what I liked so much about this, and why I'm already raving about it, because I haven't used the pump yet I've used the foundation. And that's because when I bought this, I'm so pleased that the store actually did this. They gave me a tester, so I could apply it to my face like once or twice to check the shade match and what it looked like all over my face to see whether I like it. Because in the Netherlands, you can't return makeup if you've already used it. So if I were to pump out one pump and I've thrown away the packaging, I can no longer return it at all. Even if I still have the receipt, they won't accept the return because they won't be able to sell it on to someone else. So they actually pumped out a little bit of the tester into like a little container, and I was able to try it a few times before using it with the pump and using the actual foundation to really see whether I liked it, and to check whether it doesn't make my skin look very cakey and all that. And I think that that's a great thing. So Ici Paris, shout out to you guys for making me truly try a foundation before I committed to it, because this thing is pricey. So that's why I can't review it all that much yet, because I really want to make sure that I check whether I think it's worth the price point. Going then into sort of like the rest of the base, which would be concealer. And for concealer, I've tried a couple of high-end ones, but I actually like some drugstore options. This is the concealer I'm wearing right now. This is the Catrice Liquid Camouflage Concealer. This is one of my absolute favorites. I used up one in 020, but it was a bit dark for me. They now do a shade called 007 Natural Rose. It's a little bit more pinky. It really nicely brightens up my under eye area. It stays put very nicely. It doesn't crease. It's €5. What's not to love? Like really, like the Liquid Camouflage Concealer by Catrice, if you haven't tried it yet, go out and try it, because that's an absolutely great concealer. However, it's contested by the only other concealer I've ever really used up. Maybe I've used it up another one, but the one that I could remember straight off the bat. And that's the Conceal and Define Concealer by Makeup Revolution. Everybody's comparing this to Tarte Shape Tape. I think this is better than Shape Tape because it's a little bit more emollient. And I think that these two do something very similar, and they are at a similar price point. This is also around the €5 mark. I do believe, let me check real quickly, This is 3.4 milliliters and this is 5 milliliters. So for the exact same price point, you do get more in this. And the reason why I didn't use this today is because this is still sealed, because this is my backup, or at least backup. This is my repurchase. Again, I used one up of these. I absolutely loved it. It doesn't come with a whole lot of product, but I've heard that they are now doing this in like a bigger size for a slightly higher price point. You get like 3 times as much and you only pay like €1 or 2 more. So I'm definitely looking out for that. But yeah, I already have this and then I can start using that again when I'm currently trying other concealers. But those are 2 of my absolute favorite, and they're from the drugstore. So what's not to love? When it comes to powders, I'm a little bit more picky. And again, it's more in the high-end spectrum because I have fairly dehydrated skin. So if I don't use a good powder that doesn't suit my skin type, then it looks a little bit cakey. The powder I'm currently using, and the one that I'm wearing today, is this one by NYX, which is the HD Finishing Powder in the shade Banana. I'm not a big fan of banana powders at all, but I bought this after I heard Jessica Braun from Jam Beauty 89 raving about this, and this powder is so great. And it's like 10 euros, so it's not super cheap, but it's definitely cheaper than the other 2 powders that I have to show you. As you can see, I've hit pan. It's a very, very lightweight texture. It's very powdery. There's a lot of kick up, which is why you tend to, if a powder does that, you tend to hit pan really quickly. But yeah, this looks really, really nice. It brightens everything up that I need brightening. 9 out of 10 times banana powders are too dark for me, which is why they don't work. But this works so nicely on the under eye. It doesn't make my makeup look cakey, and it makes it last all day long. And now I'm covered in powder, yay! My 2 high-end picks actually are both by MAC. There's actually another one by MAC, but I don't currently own it. But I also have one by Too Faced. The one by MAC that I have here is the Mineralized Skinfinish Natural. I really like this powder. Again, this is a powder I've used up completely before. With a dome like this, yes, I used one up completely in the older style packaging, and then I repurchased it because I really like using this as like, if I want to go for a no makeup kind of look, just wear a bit of concealer and powder and I'm out the door kind of look, that's when I like this. And I used to use this a lot in like the summertime, but I've really gotten into like more light coverage foundations and BB creams for that. But a powder like this is really nice. The other MAC powder that I don't currently own is the Prep and Prime Transparent Press Powder. That one I really love too. But a powder that does something very similar to that is the Primed and Poreless by Too Faced. This is also in the pressed version. This is such a great powder. It is very similar to the NYX one in that you tend to use this up quite quickly because it has such a finely milled texture. But I find that on my skin, again, if you have a drier skin, I find that a powder that is more loose and like has a lot more kick up will work better on my skin than something that is very, very firmly packed. I used a Bobbi Brown powder before this and I hit a very decent amount of pan. I was almost done with it, but I was so sick of it after using it for like 10 months straight. I was completely done with it and it was just too firmly packed. It looked nice on me in some lights, but not in all. So that's why I like these more like looser pressed kind of powders the best. I'm currently actually trying out loose powders. That's like my new thing right now. I've got in my hand on a couple of loose powders that I'm looking to try. Fingers crossed if I like them. What's our next step? Usually in my makeup routine, I would now move on to bronzer, and I have 2 bronzers for you. My ultimate favorite bronzer is again quite affordable. It's by H&M Beauty, which is a brand I don't hear a lot of people talking about. This is in the shade Sheer Tan, and beware because this looks gross because I use it so much. This is such a stunning, stunning bronzer. It's really nice if you have fair skin. I love using this in the winter time because it just gives you enough of a color to your skin that you don't look too pale. So I love that one. However, what I'm wearing on my face right now is a little bit more pricey. This is my current bronzer of choice. This is the Hourglass Nude Bronzer, Ambient Lighting Bronzer in Nude Bronze Light. That's what it looks like. barely shows up as a bronzer. In here, it's more like a face powder with a bit of bronze running through it. As you can see, it nicely warms up my face, but without overdoing it. It's a very, very natural product. And I think if you have a fair skin tone, this is also a really, really nice one. But of course, this is a fraction of the price of this. Hourglass has some great, great products for the face, but they are so pricey, which is why I wanted to include my favorite drugstore option. Moving on then to blushes, because blushes are of course also there. And for blushes, I just have to be honest with everyone. There isn't a high-end blush that I absolutely adore so much that I would have to recommend it to people, because I feel there are drugstore blushes that do something very similar. So again, I have two drugstore products here for you. One of them, again, by H&M. I tend to really like the products that I bought from them at the time. This is Tawny Peach. This is quite possibly one of the most used blushes in my entire makeup collection. That's a very bold statement to make, but I think it's true. This is just such a pretty, everyday, murky, sort of like Tarte Exposed comes really close to this, which is why I don't own Tarte Exposed, because I already have this. And this is such a stunning shade of blush. I love this. It's very neutral. It goes with everything. And that's what I like to use blush for. I don't like to really match my blush with the rest of my makeup look. I just like to wear a blush that I can wear everything with. That's my philosophy. Another blush that does that for me and that I have on my cheeks today is the Kiko, what's this called again? Shade Fusion Trio Bronzer in the shade number 5, which I believe is called Marsala. This is such a nice mauve tone blush. If you're looking for a good mauve in a blush, this. And it's like 10 euros as well. Just like the H&M one is like 8 or 9 euros as well. This is so nice. And again, I've used this so much that the K's that are embossed in the middle are starting to disappear. That means that I've been using this blush a lot. And it's just one that's great in the fall time. I love wearing this in the springtime. It's such a great blush. Another product, of course, that we put on our cheeks is highlight. And I also have a Kiko one here for you. This is the Glow Fusion Powder Highlighter in the shade 01. And this is so pretty. Again, here as well, the K's that used to be embossed in the middle are completely gone, because that's how much I've used this. This is such a nice, everyday, glowy highlight. Let's look at that. Ah, so stunning. So it sort of like looks like a white, but then if you have the light hit it, it's just so pretty. It looks like one with your skin. It's so gorgeous. And it's one I never hear anybody raving about, but it's such a good highlight. Another great highlight that I'd like to share with you is what I'm wearing on my cheeks today. And again, one that I don't hear enough people talking about, because this is definitely not a highlight that is for everyone. It's Becca, so it's expensive. And it's Prismatic Amethyst, which I actually saw a lot of people decluttering because of the pinky purple undertone this has. On my skin, pinky purple highlights are the prettiest together with like really light white gold ones. Those work the best on my skin. But this is so pretty. Becca highlights are so good. And as you can see, it's really not super intense. If you look, I like applying this with a very fluffy highlight brush, and then you really get a very nice sort of glow from within kind of look, and it's not super duper like glowing from space. If you use a more dense brush with these, you definitely get that effect, but I feel that the Becca highlighters are really nicely adaptable depending on what kind of brush you're using, how intense they actually go on. So these are very versatile because you can truly make them pop and like make yourself shine from space. I mean, it's that kind of look you can go for. But this on my skin, and then especially with like a mauve tone blush, so pretty. And then I have just one more type of product left. I think that's part of base, which would be a setting spray. I didn't really go over primer because I haven't tried enough primers yet to really say which ones are my favorite. I like the Too Faced one, Hangover RX, but I'm really adoring my Catrice one that I'm currently trying. But like I said, I've only used like 1 or 2 primers in my entire life, so I don't know yet. Similar kind of idea with setting spray, but yeah, the Urban Decay All Nighter, can't go wrong with that, I think. But I think that if you're looking for a budget alternative, that the Catrice Prime and Fine Multi-Talent Fixing Spray is a really, really nice one. I really enjoy this. Feels nice and refreshing on the face, and it also makes my makeup last. What's not to love? And it's, I don't know, €6 at the drugstore? Can't go wrong, because this is the travel size, and that's already like 15, I think. So this is at least a third of the price of this one. So there you have it. Those are all of my favorite face products, and I'm hoping that I'm also showing you a few options so that you know a little bit what to go for depending on what you like, because I feel that especially with foundation, concealer, and powder, it's so dependent on your skin tone, your skin type, like your undertone, whether something is nice or not, because if you have a difficult undertone to find a shade match for, then finding foundations can just be such a nightmare. I'm so glad that finally a lot of brands are doing shades that are fair enough, but they can definitely also work on how dark things go. Looking at you, Catrice. It's just, yeah, there need to be options for everybody, I think, in every single range, and I hope that that's definitely something we can like move towards. However, I do feel that, especially with the powder products, you just find what you like and see if something looks good on you, and then you're good to go. That's just my philosophy. So it really, like, in terms of like the kind of colors that you wear on yourself, a lot of it is also just conditioning yourself to see certain things on you. So especially if you feel, for instance, like, oh, I could never pull off a highlight like this, try it on. Find something affordable at your drugstore first. Temptalia has a really good like overview of possible like dupes for this. And in fact, I own a few of them and I did a video on that too. So maybe I can link it in the eye up here. So just try it on. Find an affordable version. Try it on. See what it looks like, and then commit to something a little bit more expensive like that. That's how I started out doing makeup. That's how I started out years ago, starting with very affordable products and then just building my way up as I find things that I like, that I prefer, that I think look nice on me, etc., etc. And I think that you can do the same thing. So I hope you had, I hope this video was useful for you. I would very much appreciate it if you could thumbs up this video if you liked it, because it helps getting my videos out there. And if you'd like to see more videos by me, that of course is possible, because I make new videos twice a week on Thursday and Sunday, 5 a.m. Central European time. So I would also very much appreciate it if you could hit that subscribe button and click that notification bell so that you are up to date when I post a new video. And I hope you have a great day today, and yeah, see you in my next one. Bye!